It's Daybreak with Steve Ivy Gruber, digging back into the world of music history as we do when I guest host. Birthdays, death days, number ones on this day, and more. Well, Prince, not the artist formerly known as, but at this point he was still just Prince. Number one on the album charts. Started on this day back in 1984 with the Purple Rain soundtrack. It stayed there for 24 weeks. Now, I think my math is correct. That's about half a year. Not bad. Moving some units, as they say. Prince and the Purple Rain soundtrack topped the charts on this day in 1984, just 42 years ago. Joined now by Tim Golding. He's Michigan State Director for Americans for Prosperity. Tim, thanks so much for joining us this morning on Daybreak.
For having me, Scott.
Big election day today across the state of Michigan. Is it too obvious a question to ask what you're most looking forward to seeing today when the ballots are cast?
Well, yeah, as far as the Senate race goes, I think Abdul would be an easy target to defeat in November, but having him on a ballot scares the living daylights out of me, because if he did get elected, what new fresh hell that would rain down on our country and our state. So Haley Stevens would be more moderate. She's still a progressive, though. I mean, if you look at her response during COVID, the auto bailouts, EV mandates, all the things that they want to do to increase the size and scope of the government, she'd be just as bad. They're going to get to the same spot. They just use different pathways to get there. And hopefully the easier target makes it through.
There are real big questions here about the future of the Democratic Party, both on a statewide basis and a national basis. Thus far, for the most part, these DSA candidates, the socialist candidates running under the Democratic banner, have been in these deep blue districts where there's no Republican candidate down the road, and you can vote for whoever you want because there are no consequences. There's no one that's going to be a formidable general election candidate. That, of course, is different now in Michigan, where you have Mike Rogers, a rock-ribbed kind of conservative kind of guy on the Republican side of the ticket. If Democrats now say we don't necessarily care as much about competitiveness as being someone who is going to upend the system, what does that portend for other races around the country?
It's scary, to be honest with you. I can't understand how people could vote for this Democrat socialist agenda. And again, it used to be in the real blue states, but it's not. It's going all over the place, and it's like an infection. It's a cancer. It's poison that kills everything it touches as it relates to how we're supposed to operate as a country. They are totally 180 degrees opposite of our founding principles and how our government is supposed to operate. I mean, they want to increase government control in every aspect of our lives. And the population that's getting behind these people are, quite frankly, the downward mobile, middle-aged white people who got degrees that they couldn't pay for and got debt that they can't pay off with jobs that don't exist, and they're angry and they're mad and they think the government owes them something. And that's just not the reality. The DSA platform, they want to get rid of the Senate. They want to change the presidency. They want to have the government run everything. And that's just not how our country is supposed to operate. And people need to start standing up and listening to the rational minds, the conservative voices, when they point out that these people are antithetical to America. They hate America. They fundamentally want to change it. And by the way, you don't fundamentally change something that you love. These people do not love America, and we cannot let them get elected.
Tim Golding with us. He's Michigan State Director for Americans for Prosperity. Scott Bertram filling in here on Daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. Pocketbook issues. The economy always is at the top of voters' minds. Affordability is the catchphrase, the key word as we head toward November. Do Republicans and conservatives still have an effective, efficient argument on the economy, on affordability that will work as we head toward November?
Absolutely. Mike Rogers, his policy, what he's been talking about for years and months in this campaign is bringing down the cost of energy, for example, getting rid of some of our changing how we permit energy projects, changing where and how we can put new infrastructure in. His plans for energy reform are going to be earth-changing. We need energy of abundance from all sources, and he wants that. He doesn't want to have EV mandates and green energy mandates would only increase costs to consumers and ratepayers. He wants to free up the market so that we can be energy independent. He wants to change how our education system works, especially in Michigan. Under the Democratic leadership, we've gone from like top 20 to 45th in the nation. A third of the third graders can do math at proficient levels. A quarter of the fourth graders can read at a proficient level. Every metric in Michigan is pointing us in the wrong direction. It's because of Democratic control. So when Americans hear the Republicans' plan for bringing down the cost of living so people can buy bacon and eggs, not just one or the other, and where we can have reliable, cost-effective energy, they're much more on board with that, at least the swing voters that we talk to every day, than the Democrats' agenda that you can show them only increased cost. In Michigan, the Democrats passed Public Act 233 back in the fall of November 23, and since then our green energy those green energy mandates have driven up the cost of our energy to its highest anywhere in the Midwest and the least reliable. So their solutions never work. They only increase the cost, reduce reliability, and make the government bigger than it needs to be, with less opportunities and less freedoms for Michigan families and businesses.
Tim, we got about 45 seconds left here. We'll have the gubernatorial race also begin in earnest after today as well. Jocelyn, Benson, likely for Democrats. John James, likely for Republicans. Give us a little handicap on that as we head, again, toward November.
That'll be a tough fight. John James is clearly a better candidate. He has a conservative mind. He's done well in Congress. He knows how to get things done. He's a business owner. He's a veteran. He is a fighter and a worker and will be for Michigan families. And he knows how to get the job done. Again, it'll be a hard fight, but he's going to get out there and work after the primary, and I think we'll see him victorious as well come November.
Tim Golding is Michigan's State Director for Americans for Prosperity, doing good work all across the state of America. Find them online at Americans for Prosperity. Tim, thanks so much for jumping on this morning and joining us here on Daybreak.
Thanks, Scott.
Scott Bertram in for Steve and Ivy. More coming up next.